The Dis-Chem Foundation has joined forces with Miss South Africa, Mia Roux, to ensure that the deaf community feel included and participate fully in society and the economy. We're in conversation with them today to find out how Mia Roux is using her platform to drive real change and how the Dis-Chem Foundation is helping to make inclusion a reality. Mia, very good afternoon to you and welcome to 702 Drive. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so honored to be here.
So right at the beginning, as soon as you were up on the Miss South Africa stage, you made it very clear that the theme of inclusion in a very general way, but very specifically as well around people with hearing difficulties, was going to be right at the center of your time as Miss South Africa, should you win. And of course you did. But tell us why this is so important. Is this something that has grown out of your own life, out of experiences with other people?
Yes, my whole advocacy of standing up for the excluded communities have been built on knowing firsthand what it is like to be excluded and knowing the barriers that it can create in your life. And I know that there are so many people who are within excluded communities, like the hearing impaired communities. They all have passions and dreams just like I do. And
yes,
they also experience barriers to those opportunities. They experience stigma. They experience preconceived notions that stand in their way. And I really want to help to build a bridge to help them achieve their dreams, live out their passions. And they also can contribute to the world in a meaningful way if they are given a chance.
So Mia, some of the big things around exclusion often get dealt with in, for example, laws and legislation. But I would imagine there's a lot of stuff that people perhaps don't even know about. I mean, what for you are the things that we need to be much more aware of that maybe the laws haven't even begun to look at?
I think the things that we have not begun to look at is when in the world of education, in the world of where people are working, everything is very generalized. There are no real desire to customize. And when people come from excluded communities, they do need a little bit of help because they still can do things amazingly, but sometimes they will be doing things differently. For example, if I am studying, I need to make sure that everything that the lecturer is giving me is on written form as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't miss out on anything that is important. And these are actually such small things that we can do that can make such a significant impact. Something else that we can also do is to have captions on news bulletins, on TV shows, etc. All of that can help us to also be included and know what is happening in the world. And we do not think about those things, but
Yes.
there's a whole community out there that is missing out on important news, for example.
The Mia Roux movement, you started it. It's interesting that you call it a movement because without playing too much with words, a foundation sounds like they're well established, but a movement is something you expect to grow and you want to bring other people along with you. Was that firstly what you were thinking when you called it a movement? And secondly, and most importantly, tell us what you're trying to do with it.
The word movement, it's just such a dynamic word. And
Yes.
it's truly an invitation of people to enjoy and to move with me, to help create a world that is more inclusive. And the Mia Roux movement was built with a dream of helping to inform the included on how to be inclusive towards the excluded, as well as empowering excluded communities with the tools they require to be able to be successful in today's age and society. So there is a lot of different excluded communities, but for now we are focusing on the ones with hearing disabilities
Right.
and how we can empower them. And it's something that is actively happening at the moment. I'm very excited with this game.
Yeah. Well, you were saying you want people to move with you. So let's bring in somebody who I'm sure you all know by now regularly with us on 702 Drive, Jacqueline Kahlberg with the Dis-Chem Foundation. Good afternoon to you. So Mia wanted people to move with her and you said, okay, we're coming along. Tell us why.
Well, we're moving with Mia and the Mia Roux movement. As you know, caring for our community is of utmost importance to the Dis-Chem Foundation. And we have had such an interesting journey, albeit it's been very short thus far with Mia. And we have learned so much about the deaf community and the differences with those that wear hearing aids, cochlear implants, as opposed to those that sign. And it's a completely different world at large. So we obviously heard Mia and her shout out to make changes and to include the excluded.
Right.
And the Dis-Chem Foundation is so proud to be working with the Mia Roux movement and the Miss SA pageant. And we're going to assist with giving cochlear implants to recipients. And we're starting with 3 littlies. Mia's very excited.
Yeah. But, I mean, do you want to talk to that, Mia, and tell us, the young people, how did you choose them and what are you hoping this will do for them?
So Dis-Chem have reached out to Operation Healing Hands, where they have been selecting the recipients, and there were certain requirements in order for it to be successful, because in order for a cochlear implant to be successful, they also need to be aftercare, which the Dis-Chem Foundation also kept in mind. And with aftercare, I mean speech therapy that comes after
Right.
a cochlear implant, like mapping of the device that comes after a cochlear implant. But in order for that to happen, they need to have a family that is devoted enough to take them to their speech therapy appointments, take them to their audio mapping appointments. So that is some of the requirements that we had.
Yes.
And I think Operation Healing Hands did a great job in selecting our first 3 recipients.
Yeah, and it's a major moment in their lives. A major moment in your life would obviously have been becoming Miss South Africa. But if you go back into your earlier life, was there a similar turning point to the turning point for these 3 young people that the Dis-Chem Foundation and has made possible? Something that comes to mind?
Definitely. So when I was 1 year old, my parents found out that I had profound hearing loss. So I wasn't completely deaf yet when I was diagnosed, but I lost it all very quickly. And they advised my parents that I am a good candidate for a cochlear implant, but my parents did not have the means to afford a cochlear implant, and that is where I discovered the power of community. The whole community we had then jumped in to help me raise funds for my cochlear implant, to help to introduce myself to a bigger world. And they had so many fundraisers. There was a school that raised funds. I remember there was a small local cinema in Pretoria that got the Men in Black movie in a week before it was supposed to be aired in South Africa. And all the funds went towards me. And I always grew up thinking that Men in Black was made just for me, to help me here. But I had to discover that, unfortunately, was not the truth. But the whole point here is that your community can be very powerful in empowering you and helping you. And I wouldn't be where I am without the help of people I didn't even know, without the help of my community. So I feel it's my time to give back and to be that community in turn, and I'm very grateful to the Dis-Chem Foundation for making that possible.
I mean, Jackie, in a way, Mia has summed up the way the Dis-Chem Foundation works, because obviously there's the corporate power of a very successful company behind it, but fundamentally it is driven forward by ordinary customers in your store who've decided to do exactly what Mia's describing.
Absolutely, without even realizing it at large. By swiping their Dis-Chem benefits card, they have contributed to this phenomenal initiative, the Dis-Chem Foundation with the Mia Roux movement, giving the gift of hearing and including the excluded.
Well, it's fabulous to hear, first of all, a little bit about your journey, Mia. Wonderful again to hear what the Dis-Chem Foundation is doing.
Thank you.
And we'll keep in touch and find out how these things unfold and progress as the movement moves. Thank you to both of you for spending time with us on 702 Drive. Now, did you know that every time you swipe your Dis-Chem or Dis-Chem Baby City benefit card, you are contributing towards the Dis-Chem Foundation? The foundation works closely with registered NGOs to help improve the lives of struggling communities. Recent support initiatives include feeding programs, community gardens, providing access to clean water, assistance with education and early childhood development, and distributing blankets to those in need. The more you swipe, the more you save, the more you give. The Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community.
News,
Experts,
analysis,
where things stand
what you need to know. Drive home with John Perlman.
on 702.